but those relationships are also, paramount for the long term. Even financial viability for an author's career. One book won't net a career for most authors, and you want to make sure that you are continuing to have mutual respect as you go forward.
Welcome to Modern Publishing. I'm Victoria, author, editor, and the owner of Blue Pen, and today I'm on with Anjanette Barr. Anjanette is a literary agent at Dunham Literary. She's been in various branches of the writing and publishing world for over a decade, and she is now a literary agent, and she finds that as the perfect way to synthesize her interests and talents. She lives in Juneau, Alaska, and represents authors across age categories and most genres. With there being so much on your plate, so much to do, where do you find you kind of put the most energy in terms of your current clients and supporting them? Is there an area that really stands out?
Yeah, I think that what feels like the most pivotal place to put the energy in is getting the manuscript ready for submission and choosing the right editors. So it won't do the author any good for us to submit materials that are not impressive. We're trying to catch eyes and we're trying to make a good impression. And so, a big part of my job is making sure that happens right out of the gate. And it's not as easy as it sounded to me initially, to really put a lot of diligent thought into how to approach each individual or each group of editors with that information about the book that really will make it sell, because it's not just about selling to the editor. That's the beginning step, but the end goal is to sell it to its audience. So it's a lot about identifying the audience and making sure that the book appeals to it and that the message is articulately conveyed, in a way that really helps them understand what the book really is about, because you can describe a book in so many different ways, and you want to really get to the core of what makes this book different, interesting, unique, readable. And so I put a lot of energy into that process. And then a lot of energy into communicating with authors and managing expectations, explaining to authors the process, helping them feel comfortable, making sure they feel heard and advocated for. Those two things are things that I can't multitask on. I can't be doing that in one moment and, checking off my lists of just kind of little menial tasks. They really take my full concentration because they feel like they have a lot of weight behind them. They feel like the most important things, and everything is important, and things won't go well unless everything is going well. But those are the things that I find require my full, intention and skill.
That's really not surprising to me, knowing how much the author-agent relationship is about trust. Mm-hmm. If you don't trust your agent to be doing what's best for your work and your career and your writing, leading you down the right path, then nothing good's going to come of it.
Right. Yeah, and that's how I would feel as an author, and I definitely want to make sure that my authors feel that I have their best interest at heart. It's in all of our best interest in working as a team, the author and me and the editors and everyone else involved, for the book to sell well. But those relationships are also, paramount for the long term. Even financial viability for an author's career. One book won't net a career for most authors, and you want to make sure that you are continuing to have mutual respect as you go forward.
I love that you use the word team there. Mm-hmm. I think that can be a really hard concept for a lot of authors when you get so used to working in isolation. Mm-hmm. And you're writing, you're getting it down, and then you send these queries out into what feels like a black void sometimes.
Yeah.
And then to make that switch to being part of a team and the process being more of a collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That can be challenging.
Yeah. And I do look for authors who, even if they didn't realize that I can tell are receptive to that idea. Because it is a shift in thinking. You've been preparing this, wonderful work for maybe years with very little input. And of course you want people to read it or you wouldn't be writing it. But it's hard to let go of some of the control. And that's what it feels like you're doing. It feels like you're letting go of control, not just bringing on team members, but we really should look at it that way, because anyone who's self-published knows just how many hats you have to wear. And there are very few people who, I think, at the end of the self-publishing process feel like I nailed every element of that. I wouldn't do it differently the next time. And I think most of those people are probably good at delegating, right? They probably were like, I'm not going to be good at this aspect. I'm going to hire someone for that. And I'm just going to be okay with that. Because even if we're good at a lot of things, we're not good at everything. And so it's important to bring those people in regardless of the method of publishing. But when you bring on a publisher in traditional publishing, they're not only interested in your book doing well, they really need it too, because they've invested in you financially. So there is some kind of moral obligation of the author to allow the editor and the agent, if they choose to utilize one, to kind of have a little bit of say, because they've put their trust in you as a writer, but they've also taken a really a leap of faith to say that they think that your work is worth publishing and getting out there, and they've fronted the cost for that. So it's not the same as hiring someone who will do the job whether they like the book or not. When you are using a traditional publisher, if they don't like the book, they're not going to publish it. So they're saying, we like the book, we believe in the book, and we're going to take our resources, money and talent, and put it behind that book. And so there's, from the author's perspective, even though it feels difficult to kind of let go of some of that creative control, it really is. I think it can be so gratifying to recognize that someone, saw the potential in your work and saw your talent, so clearly that they're putting their money behind you. And so then as a response to that, I think seeing it as a team and understanding that you still have a vital role. This book cannot happen without the author. You're not handing over everything. The author is still the number one person. It is still their book. And they still have to want it to be their book because they're going to have to talk about it for the next 10 years. It's just important to recognize that now there are other people who also feel like in some little way it's also their book, and that's really good, because if they do have some ownership of that, they are going to really do their best to make it sell well, to make it be successful. But yeah, teamwork is hard. It's hard in any situation. But definitely agents and editors are not adversaries, and authors and editors and authors and agents are not adversaries. It very much works best when we are all on the same page and on the same team.
Thanks to our viewers for hanging out with us today. I hope this conversation has inspired you to blaze your own trail in the publishing industry. Remember, the full episodes are available as podcasts. Just search for Modern Publishing wherever you get your podcasts. And you can head over to bluepinbooks.com/modernpublishing to learn more. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. And that's it for now. I'll see y'all next time.